Fearlessness is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to succumb it and make use of that fear into positivity. It is your ability to get up one more time despite the number of times you fall. And that's what Nigerian women are doing very amazingly. They're creating long strides, giant strides in diverse fields, be it health, economics, politics, whatever it is, even managing their home fronts, they're creating numbers. They're getting to the apex and making all Nigerians, including the male folk, proud. My guest today is one of such ladies. And you know that Prime Women has a way of ensuring that it fishes out the golden fish. And practically speaking, my guest is a golden fish. Who is she? Let's find out. My guest today is someone who's transversed, and you've already seen a bit of that in her profile. But let's go straight and say, welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
It's nice being in your space. And at the moment, for another 25 minutes, it is actually my space.
Thank you. You can have it.
Okay. Now, in 1970, about 76, Nigeria signed, full-time for, Singapore for their relationship. And sometime around the 2000, you went in there as our own representative, our envoy, our chairman, our president, so to speak, in Singapore. And you had that space for quite a while, and stories told that you brought out all of you, you gave all of you, and it was rewarding. The experiences and the results was quite rewarding, not just for you, but for us who were back home. But I'd like to know, since you're sitting here, forget what we read. How was it for you?
Oh, it was, thank you for being here. Singapore experience is one of the best experiences of my life, and I wouldn't give it for anything. It was very challenging, but challenges is what shows who you are and what you're made of. So I love the challenge, and I took it head on. Singapore is one of the nations that every nation actually should take a clue from in all aspects. They're always on the #1 charts, especially on the Asian continent, if not in the world. They stand out, and it's a country that I really think I recommend to any nation to partner with. I tried that, and as a Nigerian envoy to Singapore, my priority is to see how Nigerian governments and the Nigerian private sector could take a clue and partner with Singapore. And that really, like you said, kept me on my feet. As a matter of fact, my last assignments, I had to change at the airport on my last day in Singapore to board my flight. That's how engaging it was for me and how interesting.
You've talked about the roses, and you also mentioned that there were the challenges as well. But I always look at those challenges for me as a fun that the farmer gets through to be able to pick roses every day, beautiful as they look. What are some of those roses and some of those thorns for you, the challenges?
One of the challenges I found out is that when I got to Singapore, when I introduced myself, I engaged in making sure that I engaged the government because I'm representing my government. So I went on the what you call the courtesy calls and all that. They didn't have a lot of good. They love the relationship. They want to harness the relationship, but the Singaporean narrative about Nigeria was not the best. First of all, I said they didn't take us seriously. I don't want to say why, but they felt that a lot of things ought to be done differently to engage and to have a very profitable bilateral relationship. Some of the bilateral arrangements and the agreements that were started about 12 years ago were never concluded. And for them, it was like, this country, these people are not serious. And that was actually the heat of Boko Haram and all that. They were very skeptical. They were very scared. But I said, no, Nigeria is actually the safest place. And if you're not in Nigeria, you're not in Africa. So my first thing was to their image, their impression about Nigeria. I had to go almost like from door to door. I was visiting every ministry, every minister to say, look, this is who we are. The stories you read on the papers is not who we are. This is the Nigeria we are. If you embrace us, I'm sure you will not regret it. And there was a lot of Singaporean companies that actually took my word for it and engaged with us. And I'm backed on, apart from changing the narrative, we hosted what we call the Nigerian Singapore Business Forum that we thought was a very good place to express ourselves and to show who we are and what is the business opportunities, what were the business opportunities in Nigeria. We brought the best of the Singaporeans, the high and the mighty, and we brought the high and the mighties from Nigeria. We brought the Alakijas, the OUKs, the Ojus Okalu. We brought ministers, we brought governors, private and government sector together. We brought also our banks. Most of the MDs of the banks were there. Even the present Abia State Governor was then the MD of Alex Oti, Governor.
It was a Diamond Bank.
It was the Diamond Bank MD. The essence of that is that we wanted to let them know that not only can you do business in Nigeria, you can fund your business from Nigeria, and you can repatriate, 100% repatriate your money back to your country. So we brought the private sector, the government sector, to let them know government has put the enabling environment, the infrastructural environment for them to do their businesses. Singapore, as far as I'm concerned, you can actually probably Google that, consider that forum one of the best they've had in their 50 years of existence.
Oh, wow. That's
a good one. We did it without actually, the good part about it is that for an envoy to go to a nation and the nation helps you to fund your programs, it's never done. No one kobo of that forum came from the Nigerian embassy in Singapore. I engaged the business sector in Singapore to support that forum. So they actually funded it. The governors that came, the minister that came did not pay kobo.
That's a good one.
So that's to show you that they believed in what we were telling them. And they were all part of it. They were all engaged in it. The Tolaram, the Indoramas, the guys that owns the Indomie and the rest of them, all of them were part of that platform and they supported it.
Okay, now I'm wondering, with all the bilateral, agreements, came up during your, time, they signed the BASA. I think that's the acronym for it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'd like to know, are we really benefiting from these things? Because a lot of times we hear things signed, we hear things proposed. I am happy the other day I shared my experience with a lady who said she's actually gaining immensely from the African trade, free trade in Africa. I'm wondering, are Nigerians benefiting from the bilateral relationships in agreement in Singapore?
I believe we're benefiting from it, but I believe we could benefit better.
Oh, okay.
But it's not on the Singaporean side, actually, on our side as a government, to make use of those bilateral agreements. Like, the Nigerian airspace, most of the time we leave it free. The foreigners will come in to take advantage of it. And if they are indigent airlines that are coming up, we're not even encouraging them. Because this is why we created that, so that indigenous airlines and the Nigerian airline, if we ever get to revive it ever again, should benefit from it. But if we don't, other countries take advantage, and you can't blame them. So BASA, as far as I'm concerned, we have not really gained from it. But our agenda then was that Nigeria should make the most benefit of the signing of the BASA agreement.
What should we do to benefit more?
What we should do to benefit more is, one, not to allow our space to be that porous and leave it only for the foreign airlines, the BAs, was Singaporean airline, the Emirates. They should encourage the Nigerian indigenous airlines that wants to fly on that space. Because you find out that the international flights come and pick up even the local flights, while our local airlines are supposed to benefit from that space and support that particular arrangement. But you find out that they frustrate the local airlines, the APs, and you see what they are going to survive.
What APs,
the APs has gone through a whole hell of, a lot to survive. And even the few ones that are coming to this space, the Nigerian governments are not doing much to support them. So I'm also going to use this opportunity to tell the aviation industry that they should open up our space and make it more encourageable for the local airlines to participate. I got an airline's license. I didn't get it from Nigeria because of all the bottlenecks, frustrations that you go through to get it, mostly as a lady. I went to another country. We have talked about reviving Nigerian Airways. Let's even leave the private airlines for now. What happened to the Nigerian Airways? A country like Nigeria, the giant of Africa, we don't have a national carrier. And we talk about, every regime comes in and talk about it. And it's always flooded with all manner of gimmick, all manner of corruption and all that. We are doing ourselves. Nobody's doing us but us. So the government should actually take it very seriously. If we want to benefit from things like BASA, we must have our own national carriers and encourage local airlines that are trying to, fit into the space and bridge the gap. Look at Rwanda. Look at Kenya. No, it's the truth. We left America to come here to be part of this government and part of our nation building, but you find out that you get frustrated. You get frustrated because the governments are not helping anybody. They are not helping themselves. We don't need them to help us. We want them to help themselves and help the citizens. There's no reason why we can't have a Nigerian Airways revived. You can imagine it trying to revive a Nigerian Airways. Somebody went and got Ethiopian airline, painted it and did all that crap.
You say you left America to Nigeria to ensure that you help build the nation, make it better, and of course, enjoy your fatherland. Within Nigeria, politics is a very funny game. And for women, you mentioned about trying to get license as a human being. It's a Herculean task. And then as a lady, it's even tougher. In politics,
I got it in 3 months in another country. Yeah. Got my airline's license from another country. I got all the routing approval within 3 months in another country within the African nation.
I'm trying to challenge.
I'm not even going to call the name of the country.
I'm trying to challenge the Nigerian government to see if we can get things, done with that speed of air. Now, for Nigerian politicians, the female folk, I'm wondering, what's your take? Because it looks like the more we clamor to get more female participation, the less we get.
What I don't understand. What's our problem? You know what I don't understand? You don't have to be a politician to be in government. You see, that's why they miss it. One of the things Obasanjo did, that's actually how I came, but he didn't bring me, is that when he got into government, he was looking for Nigerians in diaspora that got what he was looking for, has the expertise, has the commitment, the passion. He begged them to come back. Regardless that they did not campaign in his election, he brought the Okonjo-Iwealas, he brought their Gangas. Even during Jonathan's time, they brought all these technocrats that have some, but it's only in Nigeria that if you're not following in the campaign trail to follow and run around, you can't be part of governance, and that is absolutely not okay. Then the women that are look at what's going on in National Assembly, that they're going to use that kind of a space to be talking about the kind of thing that they're talking about. I'm not even going to go through that. We had 9 female senators in the Senate last time. Now they're up to about 3 or 4 of them. So I'm not even going to go into the female thing because I don't want to turn this into a political space. But I think that the Nigerian government should make an effort to encourage Nigerian women to be involved in politics. They must. It's not just that you're going to buy ticket, the nomination form is free. No. It's not good enough. They should. I thought, what happened to the 35% that they have promised us?
Affirmative.
It's not working. It's not working. Why is it not working? Because government is not. They are not helping the female to get involved. And I'm telling the Nigerian women.
A lot of people say it's not exactly government. That it looks as if the women themselves are not supporting the women.
No. I don't want to hear that. The women are supporting women. That's a narrative that is not true. The women are supporting the women. But how many women have the funding that the men have? The Nigerian politics have become so expensive. I ran for Senate in 2010, 2019. I won that election. My governor left Imo State Government House in Owerri, came to Olu Zone, picked up the written results they're supposed to announce, took it to Owerri, rewrote it and announced it. Until today, that continues. Do you understand? So if it's another man, maybe they'll have the muzzle to fight me. I came to serve. For me, politics is not a business. It's a service. I came to serve. That's why I told her, I say, I'm in politics, but I'm not a politician. I'm here. I came back to serve, and I continue to serve in different fora. Women must be encouraged.
Thinking about encouraging women to come in more, and then of course making it more less appetizing for money grabbing people. What's your take on strategies rejuvenating the political terrain of Nigeria?
If they really work on what they call the affirmative action and said, okay, for the Senate, for example, they insist that a particular amount of women must be there. And just like they do their, what do people call this, the
Quota
federal,
system, federal character.
Yeah, the same way they should make the same with election, that this state should give us how many women in all the, whether it's in House of Rep, for every of them. And maybe if a governor is nominating his commissioners, they're going to be 35% of women. We have them. And we have qualified women. Women have proven, those that were given opportunity, the Konjuwalas and co, has shown that they are up to it. Oh, they can handle it. We're not competing with the men. We're not in competition. I'm sorry for any woman who wants to compete. No, we just want to complement and offer our services. And we have more capable women. So that could be done. And if you look at it, it's all men that are ruling. That's what I'm saying, that it's the men that should encourage the women. They should encourage them either by the appointments, also support them in empowering them to even run for the elective position and not rigging them out. I was rigged out. And there was nobody to fight for me. God in heaven knows that I won my election.
How does it feel to be rigged out, really? How did you feel about it?
For me, I felt hot, but I didn't, I wasn't intimidated. I still, stayed in the country and continued to give my services, both in politics and outside politics. It's a very painful place to be. But because I didn't come to politics as a business, I told my people, there was somebody that called me one of the booths. He said, ma'am, I'm the one in charge in my booths. Nobody's, can I increase your vote? I said, no, don't increase my vote. I don't need you to increase my vote. I want to win based on my credibility. And I told them when I run, I said, I didn't give kobo. They were calling people to didn't want to give shishi. I told my constituency.
Okay, your own is kobo. You didn't give kobo. Peter didn't give shishi.
Well, I know, I didn't give anything. And I didn't believe in giving anything. Do you understand? And it's a very painful place to be. But because people like us has made up our mind that our nation is our nation, we're going to be part of nation building. America is all good, citizen and all that, but I love my nation. I wouldn't want to be from another country in this world and another. So we are going to be here. We're going to tough it out.
It's okay. We're going to hang on here and ensure that we win the war eventually and make sure that women, everyone prosper, not just the women, our children inclusive. And talking about children, it reminds me of your family life. How do you cope doing all that you're doing? You told me you had to change at the airport to be able to get a job done. How do you, carry your family along doing all of that?
Women we're very good at multitasking. We're actually created to fit into so many roles at the same time. And yes, I was a married woman. My husband is late, and I had just one son. I didn't have any problem because I had a very supportive
family
husband, and my son was actually younger when I got into politics. My husband was the wing beneath my wing, so I didn't have a problem with it. But the important thing is, as a woman being in politics, is knowing where to draw the boundaries, knowing when you're wearing your cap as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, and when you're wearing it as either an ambassador or you're wearing it as some other roles that you fit in. But I think that women has capacity to balance their role as mothers, as wife, as leaders, as pace setters. But it's your decision how you want to do it. Some people go into politics and politics ruins their family. True. It's all the way. But when you balance yourself and make a decision that this thing is all part of your roles, you don't ignore any. Like, I make sure that, like, my son was growing up then, but I ensure it wasn't easy. That most of his games, he was playing football. I'm in his games. I'm in part.
You were part of the games.
He played American football. He lives in the US, so he played American football. So I find a way to balance it. Make sure I'm there for him. Make sure that I'm also there for my husband when I was needed, when it was necessary. So I didn't have a problem. Basically, it's easier when you have a husband or have a partner that is very supportive. But then you have to earn that trust and that support.
I know. And then back then in Singapore, you mingled, you related. And I know that for the people to have accepted you and cued into what you were doing, you actually show them that you are part of them. And in my culture, they say for you to really demonstrate that you have come and you are relaxed, you must learn to eat a bit of your meals. What meals is you like?
Like in Nigeria, like
No, Singapore, Nigeria. That's your food.
Singapore
I
has
know there are a lot of pastas.
Singapore has a lot of rich cuisines. I'm not a foodie, so I wasn't too much into food. But one of the food that was my takeaway that I still cook in this house is the Singaporean noodles. Was my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah, it's light and you can make it as rich as you want to. So it became one of my favorites. Tomorrow, if you come to me, if I'm having anything in my house, Singaporean noodle has to be part of the dish you eat in my house.
So how do you rejuvenate? How do you relax? Because you don't look like you work. Like the children of Gen Zs will say, you look like you're living a soft life.
Oh boy!
So and that comes from taking care of yourself. So how do you rejuvenate?
Well, like I said, it's all about balancing yourself, prioritizing yourself. I tell it to every woman, I love myself to bits. It's the you that you give to the world. I love myself. I don't compromise my peace. I tell people, I said, anything that costs you your peace is very costly and you don't need it. I'm not a very big fan of gym and all that, but as far as I'm concerned, I use my space. I wake up in the morning as much as I can, at least 5 days in a week, and I walk around with my music on, do my normal, sometimes I do jump rope, I do the normal aerobic, I don't do nothing extraordinary. Like I said, I'm not a foodie, I make sure I do that. I do my exercise, and I love music.
You love music?
I love music, I love music, I love movies. And
when you're listening to your music, what type do you listen to?
What type? I do a lot of gospel. I do a lot of jazz. I do a lot of instrumental. So that's
deep.
Those kind of relaxes me.
I was going to ask you if you know something about Davido songs.
No.
Or Wizkid.
Not at all. I mean, the one that I actually listened to that got me was the one Flavor.
Okay, what did you say?
What's that one? Money or Nothing.
Oh, wow. Flavor, Money or Nothing.
That's what music, that kind of was in vogue for a very long time. What's the meaning? That's a flavor.
Okay, Agbabola.
Agbabola.
How much is money? It's nothing. Balling. Premium or nothing. Now you know.
I love their music, and they are keeping their generation alive, and that's fine. And I love the way they carry on, but it's not something that I invest in.
It's lovely. Thank you very much for coming on the show. But I won't take a leave until I found out briefly what would you say is your philosophy in life?
My philosophy in life. My philosophy in life is all about loving yourself, peaceful coexistence is a priority for me. My philosophy in life is that no matter what, there is no way we cannot coexist, despite your religion, despite your culture, that there is nothing. Peace. I cherish peace. I cultivate it. I promote it. I speak it. Because peace is the basic of everything. Peace is priceless. In this country, if we have peace, a lot of things will go well.
I believe in your coexistence, gospel, so to speak, because I've been here and your security man is a Hausa. Mm-hmm. He was actually praying when I came in, and he took his time and attended to us. When he finished, I tried to communicate. He could not understand my English, but that's okay. I had a colleague who could speak Hausa, so she translated, and it tells me that you are coexisting with him, means that you have peace. All right, that's the way it should be.
We must never give up on the nation. I want to also use this opportunity to plead with the leaders of this nation to look inwards. Nigeria we don't have to suffer. I tell people we're the most blessed country. We have both the human resources and the natural resources. Let's learn how to coexist. Let's learn how to use the things God has given us for ourselves, not in a selfish way, but in a way that every Nigerian citizen has a right to the basic needs: good water, good road, electricity, and the food on their table.
Benny, thank you so much for coming on the show again. We've been talking with Her Excellency, the 2012 envoy to Singapore, and somebody who did us real proud. And as a woman, I feel particularly, exceptionally, very proud of her achievements. My guest today has been Her Excellency Rajis Okpara, and you can tell that you've had a whole lot to learn. If you're a lady, plenty of it to add. Join us again next week when we'll bring another exciting personality. It's been Prime Woman on NTA, and I am still Elizabeth. Ciao, ciao.